Hey everyone, Steven TheSalonGuy here, and I am back once again with a hair consultation with a viewer of my channel. I'm so thankful because so many of you have reached out to me, and it's almost like overwhelming the amount of people who want to be on camera with me. So if you are interested in having a consultation with me here on my channel, send me a message on Instagram at TheSalonGuy, and we can start the conversation, and we can talk and see if you're a good fit for being on my channel. But today we have Tom, who is from Germany. Hello, Tom.
Hi.
Guten
Guten
Tag.
Tag. Nee, guten Abend. Guten Abend.
Good Abend. Okay, good Abend. I don't know what time is it there.
It's currently 7:03 p.m. Yeah,
Yeah.
7:03.
So it is technically the evening.
Yeah. Finally
So
back from work.
So Tom, first of all, thank you for being on. Thank you for reaching out to me. And the whole point of this is so that other people who are watching can watch, can learn, can maybe pick up a couple of things about their hair. So first off, looking at you right away, you've got great hair. I love the beard. I think we could be possibly related. Are we related, Tom?
Yeah, thanks. I'm kind of confident about it. It's not
Yeah.
really a confidence issue.
Yeah. I'm actually part
Yeah.
German too. I'm Italian and German. So,
Okay.
yeah.
For me, it's part German and Danish, actually. Got
Okay.
some Viking vibes. And I'm not trying to say the Viking thing too much because some people might say, just because you're blonde and you've got a beard, you're not a Viking.
But I could see you being on the show. I could see it. I could see it. So, all right, let's talk about your hair journey over the last, year, couple years. Just what's been going on with your hair? Is it at its, longest point right now? Is it at its shortest? What's been going on with your hair?
Um, it's definitely not the longest I've ever had. I can remember back when I was 16, I've had like the typical Justin Bieber haircut because I just didn't think like I was confident enough to be like, okay, yeah, I need a good haircut to look good. Like the confidence level was like below the barrel. It was very bad. But as time went on, like it was back in school when I was doing my apprenticeship, and maybe like 6 years back or something when I was 20, 21, maybe at that age, I was like thinking about it like, man, my hair won't actually stay up because I've got fine hair. I've got fine hair, definitely. Um, and it would always flop down, like almost like Donald Trump vibe. And it would be such a pain. It would be a real pain. Um, like uh, maybe after that, I was looking into better hair products, like something like Climation, maybe, like Hans de Foucault, Blue Man, and stuff like that. My monitor just turned off. You could see it was getting darker there.
Right.
And then I got kind of into homebrew products. And then the more I got into homebrew products, the more I went into, okay, maybe it's not the actual product itself, maybe it's just the haircut. So it was a long journey. Like I've gone from a really long haircut, like maybe like 3 centimeters on the sides, but then it would look kind of mushroomy, that sort of thing. Where I was telling the barber or the stylist to do one thing, like to square it off basically, and then it would grow out 1 or 2 weeks later and it would still look the same. I've gone for something that was really similar to a crew cut. I've basically experimented around. That's kind of a thing. Like if you look back, what I looked like 3 or 4 years ago, I've posted something like that. Maybe if you've seen it. I look vastly different. And maybe it's the beard, like when I started growing a beard that I was experimenting a lot around. But
Mm-hmm.
trying to work with my receding hairline, it's not that bad, I gotta admit. But over time, like it's not a confidence issue, but it's more like, okay, what suits me best? I've tried around like 6 millimeters on the sides, like a tight fade, mid fade, low fade. I've tried everything, and I can't really define what suits me best. I like it's always a 50-50 whenever I'm going to a barber or a stylist. I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about maybe 9mm on the sides, maybe keep it longer on top, or maybe cut it short, something like a French crop or something. That's also what I've tried as well. And then I'm like, with like instant response, I'm going like, okay, I'm going shorter, I'm going longer, like the exact opposite of what I initially wanted. When I'm going to the stylist in the morning, I'm like, man, I would love to slip my hair back, or I would like to have a kind of messy, or like the corners. Like the main thing I've been doing over time, like the last 2 or 3 years, ever since my stylist or another stylist screwed up my hair, I was doing like something Chris Hemsworth for Ragnarok kind of thing.
Mhm.
And that always suited me well, I thought. And then, as I've said, like somebody messed up my hair. They took the parting way too low. Sorry, my camera's flipped. Like it would go from there, the parting would go here.
Whoa.
It would go really, really tight downwards. It was almost like an undercut, but the parting was just way off.
Whoa.
And as I've said, like I grew my sides out, just to eliminate that problem, and it would go really, really long. And then I was like, maybe I would like some highlights, silver highlights or something, maybe a bit more edgy, a bit more different, to like match with a beard a bit more, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty dark blonde.
Yeah.
And then when I wanted it short again, my barber or stylist was like, if you cut it short, it's gonna look really spotty. And then they would do an undercut, like I think it was like 3 or 6 millimeters. So it was an egg shape. I hated that. I hated that so much. So I've tried everything, most of the stuff that's like short to medium length. I've never had long hair. I've never had it like down to my chin. I never had it down to my shoulders. That's nothing I've ever tried, because many people, like when I was researching on the internet, or on Reddit, YouTube, etc., I always thought I could never pull that stuff off. It would look kind of weird, maybe a bit like it's looking okay, like the denseness, like in
Yeah.
the front part, it's okay.
Yeah.
But when you're actually looking up, like you can see it through the camera right now, but if you're like outside, or if I would go into a bathroom, turn the lights on, or in the office, I would
Yeah.
exactly see my scalp right there.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Tom, so
it's basically that I can't really pinpoint like a one size fits all kind of thing. Like I'm working in the office. Sometimes I want to do something more textured, but still kind of clean looking.
right.
Sometimes I want to do something messy, like kind of edgy, have it like everywhere,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if I can pull off the clean thing. I've tried with oil-based clays before, because they're a bit slicker.
Yeah, but well, okay. So let me thank you for sharing all that. I appreciate that. So the first thing is, being that let's start with the products themselves. I have actually my distributorship to Germany. You can actually get my stuff in slick hair, I believe, my products.
I've tried your
So
crafted stuff, the matte paste.
yeah,
It works good. Yeah, it works.
yeah. Thank you. And I have so many, like my sea salt spray is perfect for fine hair. Tidal Wave, my sea salt spray. I've got like, the problem is being in the United States, they're putting strict regulations on distribution on products in Europe right now, especially Germany.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah.
Crazy.
Lots of
But
stuff is gone.
yeah. But the first thing in regards to products is, anyone who has like fine hair or thin hair, I would fully stay away from oil-based products, because oil just weighs down fine hair. In my opinion, makes it greasy too quickly. So you have to be careful with heavy products on fine hair because it won't do what you think it's going to do. In my experience, as someone who's worked on hair for over 20 something years, every time I try to use a specific oil-based product, well, I don't. That's the thing, is I don't.
Yeah.
So I would use more like a hair powder, or, you know, like my sea salt spray, something that's going to bind the hair together and make it thicker, as opposed to kind of spread it and be more oil-based, which tends to make the hair a bit heavier. So you need something that's going to actually do the opposite, where it's going to bind the hair together and make it feel a bit more, I don't want to say dry, but you definitely want to have more of a matte dry feeling than a slick back oil. Now you can have a slick back, if you want a slick back look, then fine, wear a slick back product. But the second thing is for your actual haircut. So your hair, to me, right off the bat, it's almost like, I don't want to say perfect, but it's very, very symmetrical, and it looks like it's perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but to me, you have more option with that, because sometimes when hair is almost too perfect, it looks nice, but sometimes people are just like, oh, I'm so bored with my hair. It's the same thing. I don't know what I can do with it. It's very fine. I don't feel like I have many options. So in your situation, when people have maybe a hairline on the sides that kind of goes up like that, but you have a lot of density in the front, what I tend to do is actually go for more of a non-perfect type of hairstyle look, where I actually go for more of a messy type of look, where you can bring in the corners and it doesn't look like you're covering so much, but it looks like it's part of the haircut, because you actually can try to mess up your hair like this, and the corners, because of the shorter hairs, actually fill it in and give it more texture and volume, because it's a bit shorter, and you actually incorporate the hair. So you'd be styling the sides like this, more in this way, and almost like shaking like that, you know? So it's kind of like, let me see if I even have, I hate to even do this on camera. Give me 1 second here.
It's okay.
I have, let me see. I have a mannequin. Okay, yeah. So here we go, Tom. I actually have a couple of mannequins here. This one, now obviously these mannequins have, you know, kind of perfect hair, but you see that?
Yeah.
You see how that is like kind of messy? Now, if I were to pull this all back and say the mannequin had a hairline that went back a little bit into here, I would cut it the same way, because what's happening here is, by me being able to mess it up like that, you see how this hair kind of slightly covers into here?
Yeah.
But it's connected into that front like that, okay? So by having the front a little bit shorter, this all kind of works in more in like this, and there's a bit of like depth in through here into the sides, and then the top is just a bit shorter. Like this top is a good length for you, maybe even go a little bit shorter. But the way this doesn't look like perfect like your haircut, you know what I mean? Your hair looks phenomenal, but for me, it's almost too perfect, where I think you could actually go for a more messier type of look like this, where you can get it to look perfect, but it's also like a messy perfect.
Okay.
But for you need to have the sides a bit shorter, and it's how you style it. So you actually have to try reversing it and pulling everything forward and then messing up this. So these corners are kind of like, okay, you work on this first if you're looking to kind of get some more coverage into here, and then you go in and you mess up the top and kind of work it into each other. See that? Yeah. So it's working in like that, okay? It's working in like that into this. So all haircuts have to have like a focal point, right? So right now, your focal point, because of your hair looking perfect, and it's because it's so high right in the front, all the attention is right here. So sometimes, yeah, you know, sometimes if you bring too much attention to the front, you see all that, okay? So for people who tend to have maybe higher foreheads, things like that, then I say, well, let's minimize that a little bit, and let's create a style that actually narrows the face down a bit more and narrows it into the corners, and then you can get a little bit of that height in throughout the front here instead of exposing all of this like that, because everything's exposed. Now you have great hair. You're, you know, good looking guy. You've got the beard. You have some things going for you, Tom. You know, it's not like you're in rough shape over there. But I think for you, you can try to experiment a little bit more with how you style it in through the corners and through here, and then maybe I would cut it a bit shorter throughout the whole top, just so that you can get that messy. And what this really is doing is it's giving thickness to the style itself. It's adding volume, but it's also adding texture to it without making it look thinner. This is actually going to thicken up your hair. I would not even go close to an oil base for anything like this, because it's just going to weigh it down. It's going to make it look thinner. It's going to make it look heavy. There's no kind of restyling capability to it. Whereas like a styling powder or something, like I have a styling powder called talc, that actually you dab it on your hair and you can literally just reshape it and the whole day, you know? So yeah, any questions on that?
Yeah. So basically the OB clays were just an experimental phase. So I kind of ruled that out, because after a while, like now it's getting warmer and warmer.
Yeah.
And it will just basically melt, and it will get so greasy, especially dark blonde hair. It gets really, really bad. It looks just dirty, you know. But so basically, the top can be shorter. How about the sides? How would you do the sides? Like currently, it's, as you can see, it's kind of tight.
Yeah.
Kind of. The fade isn't too high. It's not too high up. So basically it's spread off, because as I've said, egg shape, you know, my head goes like this. So I need something so it falls down a bit, but also like keep it square a little bit. Would you say, should I just keep that kind of shape and grow it out longer? Maybe like 3 millimeters, 6 millimeters, maybe around that kind of part.
You see that?
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, this is probably like a half an inch. I don't know the meters, but it's like a half an inch.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah. So my hair is like skin. I just, you know, but yeah, this is probably about a half an inch. But so your hair length is okay on the sides. Could you go a little bit longer? Yeah, you could probably go a half an inch longer. But then what I would do, the way to balance that is you have to go maybe a little bit shorter throughout the top front here. Okay. So this is probably like, again, it's probably close to yours. Yours may be a little longer. Yeah. This is probably about 2.5, 3 inches right here.
Like currently goes up like this.
Yeah. Can you pull it down like that on your forehead? Just pull it down. Yeah. So
it's basically down to my eyebrow. Yeah. That's how I've always like kind of had it, like
right. And then when you like
balance kind of thing.
Yeah. So you could probably cut that in half or 3/4 of it off. Okay. Because you could still make the hair look kind of long just by how you style it, by like pulling it down this way. And, you know, so I think your hair needs a little bit of just reshaping, so it's not so long and heavy up here, but it's also going to give you more volume and texture, so that you're not getting maybe so much like a flip or kind of a poof over in the front. This for you, again, I would like to see something more of like a messy texture, like Brad Pitt, like in Fight Club, something like that, you know? Yeah, something like that. So, and then you can mess your hair up, and you can bring in the corners a little bit and actually create that fullness on your own easily. Because right now, again, it looks good. It's just too perfect, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. Like I kind of realized that before I had like this mistake at the stylist. Like it was basically, you know, my usual stylist isn't there, but the salon, not saloon. We're not in the Wild West. like they've got many different good stylists. So that was a new one there. I was like, you know what, let's give her a try, you know, I'm giving her a chance. And the moment she went up, like she didn't comb it or anything, she didn't find the parting, she just basically went up, and there was nothing I could do. So I was kind of restricted. Then I tried to grow it out, because that part was kind of affected here, because it
Yeah.
was always flop out. It was always
Okay.
more like this, because that isn't that long. It was like maybe to about here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only thing I could do is style it forward, but
Right.
it was still too messy looking. It looked kind of like I was hiding something if
Okay.
I would style it forward. But if I would do something like this, it would always flop out into the opposite direction, because it didn't have any length. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my last resort kind of thing. Once I've grown it out, I went to a different barber, and he basically cut it that way. And I kind of realized that myself, like, okay, if I would style it forward, you know, I would lack the length here.
Mhm.
So I couldn't, like, I could
Yeah.
do it if I wanted to, but it would be still kind of short, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to, for the hair to work properly, it all has to be kind of connected. So this corner piece needs to almost match a little bit with the top.
Yeah.
And that's how it won't look like you're covering something. When you have something where the sides are like short and then like the top may be really, really long or something where it's unbalanced, the haircut's unbalanced, then it starts to look a little bit awkward. But if you have everything kind of connected together and balanced in the haircut, it looks a lot more symmetrical. It looks like it's just part of the haircut. You know, even though the corners are being brought in like that, it's part of that's the whole style, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in my my advice is you've got good hair. I would just experiment with creating more of a messy look. Again, it all depends on you. You know, could you go with the sides a little bit longer? Yeah, sure. You know, people who have more rounded faces, usually like when you narrow out the sides, it kind of thins out the face. It's like when my beard was getting pretty long, and then I recently kind of trimmed it down a bit. And even for me, the more my beard grows like out like this, and I end up looking like a basketball because it's just like that, you know. So I trimmed down my beard recently. It hasn't been this short, and I can't even tell you how long. But you know, and so it narrows my face in. So you don't have to have you have a good face shape for that. So you can pretty much
Thanks.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
it was just kind of a problem, and not really a confidence thing. Like, as I've said before, the beard kind of made it more possible to have more different or like different hairstyles. Like, I
Yeah.
could go shorter, I could go longer, and it wouldn't look bad, because hey, I've got a beard, you know. It still looks kind of good, you
Yeah.
know. I could still do something with it. So it isn't, as I've said, a confidence issue. It was more like, okay, am I, like, with my hairline, more like a one size fits all kind of type, or am I just restricted to one style? But it makes sense with the corners, like, to work with it rather than, you know, expose them too much, or like make it look like
Yeah.
you're hiding something. That was my main concern. The past hairstyles I've had the corners way too long, way too long.
Most of
And
the time,
then,
and I'll end on this note, Tom, is that most with stylists, it's all about their skill level, or even barbers. You know, I'm someone, you know, you find somebody who's been doing hair for, 20, 25 years, long list of trainings, they maybe charge a bit more money, you know, they may understand that right away. You know, someone like myself, I can do that in my sleep. Easy for me because I've done it and so experienced. I'm also very expensive for a haircut, you know, but at the same time, uh, sometimes you get what you pay for. And if you find just that one right person to cut it, if you go from person to person to person, everyone's skill level can be different. So it's just a good point for people watching is sometimes, you know, if you go to, like, I get the most comments about their stylists. Oh, my guy can't cut it right and he keeps messing me up. I'm like, why do you keep going back to him? Go to someone else, you know, like don't keep going to the same person if they can't cut your hair how you want it. But
Yeah.
you're taking a risk on trying someone else, but you need to do your research. Like, go on their Instagram page, look them up and see kind of online what reviews they have. Look at their work. You can see somebody's work before you even go in to have them touch your hair. And if you don't see the type of work that they're promoting, that is what you want for your hair, then don't go to them. Or if they keep screwing your hair up, find somebody new. And I know in some countries, because I have a lot of people who watch, you know, India and Middle East, like all over the world. And sometimes they tell me, they're like, nobody cuts hair around here like that, or I can't afford a haircut, or I pay, you know, a very small amount of money for my haircut because there's nothing around. Sometimes not everybody has the opportunities to try different places, but do your research on who you go to, and it may end up saving you in the long run because they could understand and get it right the first time. And that's why people say, like you said, oh, the person, they always leave, they always do this, they always do that. And it's what shouldn't be done. They need to do the other thing, you know? So yeah, so it comes down to even confidence from the stylists, you know, and the barbers. They have to feel confident. And it's like me, what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing this. I can literally look at you and be like, yeah, do this, that's it. And that's it, you know, and it all comes down to the professional being confident. So, but all right, Tom, well, listen, did you have fun today? I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm kind of nervous, actually, but you know,
Yeah.
I think I did well.
You
I
did.
kind of did well, I guess.
You did. I try to be a good host too, you know?
You did well.
I appreciate that, Tom. Well, listen, thanks for engaging with me, and hello to everyone in Germany. And I hope you are doing well. And thank you for your time, Tom. And we'll see you soon, man. All right?
Yeah. See you soon.
Take care.
Again, thank you very much.
Yeah. My pleasure, man.